"Oja, if you must marry him then you have to take me along," said Rosemary. Before we dive into this story, please consider subscribing to my channel, like, share and let me know in the comment section where you are watching us from. Ojamalia was a strikingly beautiful woman from Nigeria, based in Lagos State. She had a childhood friend, Rosemary, with whom she shared an inseparable bond. They grew up together, attended the same boarding school, and leaned on each other through the highs and lows of adolescence. It all started innocently, with friendly teasing and playful gestures. But over time, their friendship evolved into something more intimate. What began as affectionate hugs and whispered secrets soon deepened into a forbidden relationship. By the time they left school, Ojamalia and Rosemary were no longer just friends, they were lovers. Years later, when Ojamalia announced her engagement to Alex, Rosemary was devastated. She couldn't bear the thought of losing Ojamalia to someone else, especially a man. "If you're going to marry him," Rosemary had said, her voice trembling with emotion, "then I must come with you. I can't lose you, Oja." Ojamalia had tried to reason with her. "Rosemary, I love him. I have to move on." "Then take me with you," Rosemary insisted. "We can still be together. He doesn't have to know." Torn between her love for Alex and her bond with Rosemary, Ojamalia made a bold decision. She convinced Alex to let Rosemary move in with them after the wedding. "She's like a sister to me," Ojamalia had told him, her voice sweet and persuasive. "She's been through a lot, and I want to help her." Alex, a kind and trusting man, agreed without hesitation. He had no idea that his wife's intentions were far from innocent. Ojamalia and Alex's culture held strict taboos against infidelity. A married woman who betrayed her husband would not only face social disgrace but also risk death, along with her husband, if he unknowingly consumed food prepared by her. But Ojamalia found a loophole. She couldn't be with another man, but nothing in the cultural laws forbade her from continuing her relationship with Rosemary. When Rosemary moved in, everything seemed normal at first. Alex was often away on business trips, and the three of them appeared to be a happy, harmonious household. But as soon as Alex left, the true nature of Ojamalia and Rosemary's relationship resurfaced. Their late-night conversations turned into lingering touches. Shared meals became stolen kisses. They felt safe, hidden behind the walls of the home Alex had built for his wife. One evening, after Alex left for a month-long trip to Abuja, Rosemary turned to Ojamalia as they sat on the couch. "Do you ever feel guilty?" she asked, her voice soft but probing. "Guilty about what?" Ojamalia replied, sipping her wine. "About him. About us," Rosemary said, her gaze fixed on her friend. Ojamalia hesitated, then shook her head. "No. What we have is different. It's not like I'm cheating with another man. Besides, he'll never know." Rosemary smiled, satisfied with her answer. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I've missed you, Oja. It's been too long." That night, their affair reignited with a passion neither of them could resist. For weeks, they lived as if the world outside didn't exist. But secrets are hard to keep, especially in a home filled with whispers and stolen moments. One afternoon, while Ojamalia was out running errands, Alex returned unexpectedly. He had decided to surprise his wife, eager to spend time with her before his next trip. As he walked into the house, he noticed something odd. Rosemary's sandals were placed neatly outside the master bedroom door. His heart raced as he stepped closer, hearing muffled laughter from inside. "Ojamalia," he called out, his voice steady but firm. There was a long pause before the door opened. Ojamalia stood there, her face pale and her expression guarded. "Alex. You're back early," she said, forcing a smile. Behind her, Rosemary appeared, draped in one of Ojamalia's robes. Alex's eyes darted between the two women, his mind racing to make sense of the scene before him. "What's going on here?" Ojamalia stammered, searching for an excuse, but her silence spoke louder than words. "You've betrayed me," Alex said, his voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "You think I wouldn't notice? In my own house?" "Alex, please, it's not what you think," Ojamalia began, tears streaming down her face. But he wouldn't listen. Without another word, he turned and left the house, leaving Ojamalia and Rosemary to face the weight of their choices. As the door slammed shut behind him, the two women sat in silence, the reality of their actions crashing down around them. What they thought was a secret had now become a ticking time bomb, threatening to destroy everything in its wake. When Alex stormed out that evening, Ojamalia knew she had to act fast. Fear gripped her heart, but desperation birthed a plan, a bold, risky plan. Rosemary watched her pace back and forth in the living room, her hands trembling. "Oja," Rosemary said, stepping closer, "what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking," Ojamalia said, her voice low but steady, "that I need to tell Alex the truth. Not just part of it, the whole truth. And I need him to understand that what we did doesn't break the culture. It's not with a man, Rosemary. The gods never said anything about women." Rosemary's eyes widened, but then a sly smile crept across her lips. "You think he'll listen?" "Oja, that's bold. It's the only way. I need to make him see there's no betrayal here, only love. For him. For us," Ojamalia said, her voice gaining strength. Hours passed before Alex returned. The door creaked open, and he stepped in, his face set in a grim expression. He avoided her eyes, heading straight for the bedroom. "Alex," Ojamalia called after him, her voice soft but insistent. He paused but didn't turn around. "What do you want, Ojamalia? Haven't you done enough?" "Please," she said, stepping closer. "Just hear me out. One last time." He sighed deeply, his shoulders heavy with frustration, and finally turned to face her. "Speak." Ojamalia gestured for him to sit, and he reluctantly obliged. Rosemary stood quietly in the background, her presence undeniable but unspoken. "I know what you saw hurt you," Ojamalia began, her voice trembling. "And I know I've broken your trust. But Alex, I need you to understand something. What happened between Rosemary and me, it doesn't violate our culture. The gods speak of betrayal with another man. I've never done that to you. Never." Alex's brows furrowed, confusion mixing with his anger. "What are you saying, Ojamalia? That because it's with a woman, it's not betrayal?" "Exactly," she said, leaning forward, her eyes pleading. "The bond between us doesn't take anything away from you. It doesn't endanger you or me. It's different." Alex shook his head, his frustration mounting. "I don't know what kind of justification this is, but it's madness." "Let me prove it to you," Ojamalia said, her voice dropping to a whisper. He frowned. "Prove it. How?" Before he could react, Ojamalia moved closer, her hands resting gently on his shoulders. "Alex, I love you. I've always loved you. But Rosemary is part of my life too. What if we could share something extraordinary together? What if we could create a bond so strong that it defies every boundary?" Alex blinked, his confusion deepening. "What are you talking about, Ojamalia?" Rosemary stepped forward, her gaze steady. "She's talking about all three of us, Alex. Together." His eyes widened, and he began to protest, but Ojamalia silenced him with a finger to his lips. "Before you say no," she whispered, "let us show you. Let us take you somewhere you've never been before. No betrayal. No danger. Just love. Alex hesitated, his mind racing. But before he could form a coherent thought, Ojamalia leaned in, her lips brushing against his. Rosemary joined in, her touch light and inviting. At first, Alex resisted, his pride and confusion holding him back. But soon, the warmth of their affection melted his defenses. The tension in the room shifted, replaced by an electric charge that neither of them had ever experienced before. As the night unfolded, Ojamalia and Rosemary guided Alex into a world of intimacy and connection he had never imagined. His initial hesitation gave way to curiosity, then acceptance, and finally, pleasure. By the time the night was over, the three of them lay tangled together, their breathing soft and synchronized. Alex stared at the ceiling, his mind both bewildered and at peace. "You two," he finally said, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips, "are going to be the death of me." Ojamalia laughed, her hand resting on his chest. "No, my love. We're going to be the reason you live." From that night forward, their lives changed. What had begun as a scandalous secret became an unorthodox but unshakable bond. And in defying convention, they found a love that transcended the boundaries of tradition, culture, and fear. The harmony that once existed in the unconventional household began to crack when Rosemary announced her pregnancy. Ojamalia had always assumed that the unique arrangement would keep everyone satisfied, but this news shifted the balance entirely.